Happy Wednesday! We are going to do math, reading, and writing today. So for math, you're going to need your workbook as usual. For reading, today is our Zoom Read Aloud class. We're going to read the story of the week together out of this book, and you also need your reading packet for your comprehension. And then for writing, you're going to need this from last week. It might be in your green folder from last week, or you may have put it in your red in preparation for this week, but you're going to need this as well. So like I said, our Zoom class is going to be for reading to do the read aloud, and then shortly after the Zoom class, I'm going to be meeting one-on-one with you guys about your writing. So please have already started this before you meet with me, and we will talk through what you have so far, and if you want help finishing it, I can help you with that. See you later today, guys. It is time for math, so make sure you have a pencil, you have your workbook, you have your ruler, and then you also have your math packet. So we're doing some more measuring today, except we are switching gears. So before we were using inches, which is what we use in the United States. That's the bigger measurement on a ruler here, and there are 12 inches in 1 foot. We usually measure things by inch, foot, or yard, which is 3 rulers. We are going to flip this guy over to the other side if you have the paper one. It's the one that has 30, okay? And these are called centimeters. And centimeters, remember what we said, an inch is about 2 fingers. A centimeter is about your pinky. Or, you guys are familiar with these little guys. We use these a lot in multiplication when we were using grouping. These are our little cubes, and these are actually 1 centimeter. So take a little cube. Look at that, 1 centimeter. How perfect. Okay, so here's what we're doing today. We are using metric units of length. So if you go to other places in the world, they use the metric system, which is our centimeters. They are the liters and milliliters we talked about last week. So if we are measuring length and we are somewhere else in the world, we're going to use a centimeter, which is about the size of a cube here. And then we also will use 1 meter. So we have 1 centimeter, our abbreviation is cm. And then we have, if we have 100 centimeters, we get 1 meter. So if we put cube after cube after cube after cube, and we put 100 of these in a line, we would get 1 meter. And the width of a door, that's this way. How wide is it? Is about 1 meter. And how tall a door is about 2 meters. Also, if you're looking for conversions or things that are equal in your packet, I put this paper right here. So here are our measurements that we've been using so far this week in the United States. 12 inches is a foot, 36 inches is 1 yard, which is also 3 feet. 5,280 feet equals 1 mile. Then here we are with the metric units of length. So what I really forgot to tell you is a millimeter. So here's, I'll try to show you up close here. Between 0 and 1, that is a centimeter. But you notice all these teeny, teeny, tiny little marks there. They are so small. That is called a millimeter. So between 0 and this first little mark there, that's really hard to see up close there. But all of those are millimeters, and there are 10 millimeters in a centimeter. 10 little marks. So 10 millimeters equals 1 centimeter. Now, that's an important one to know. 10 millimeters equals a centimeter. We also need to know that 100 centimeters equals 1 meter, and 1,000 meters is a kilometer. So a kilometer would be about it's not equal to a mile, but it is a really long distance, like we would use a mile. They use meter where we use a yard. They are not the same length, but they are close. And then they use centimeters, whereas we use inches, which we know that those are very different sizes because here's an inch and there is a centimeter. But this is a helpful conversion chart. The metric system is nice because everything is in groups of 10 or 100. 10 millimeters is a centimeter, 100 centimeters is a meter, 1,000 meters is a kilometer. So it's a little bit easier to do some conversions because they are all groups of 10. So grab your ruler, whichever one you want to use, if you have a plastic one or the paper one, and here we go. So we're going to decide which is the most appropriate unit to measure each length. A football. If I had a football in my hands, would I use a millimeter, count teeny tiny mark after teeny tiny mark to count all the way up to a football? Would I use centimeters? So these guys, these numbers right here. Would I use a meter, which is 100 of these guys? Or would I use a kilometer, which is like how you would measure the distance that your car is driving? I think I would probably use centimeters here to measure football. And I could just put cm for centimeters. If I was going to do a blade of grass, or the length of a running shoe, or a baseball field, I would probably do meters for a baseball field because the baseball field is not long enough that I would drive my car on it, so it's not going to be kilometer. Millimeters here, that I would be counting all day if I was trying to measure a baseball field with millimeters. Centimeters, I could do it, but again, it would take me a really long time. But I think meters, which is 100 of these guys, it's about 3 rulers, but a little bit longer than 3 rulers. I think that would be the best option. Then you're going to choose the best estimate given 3 measurements. So a football player's height. So think about your mom or your dad. How tall are they? Are they 2 centimeters? That's between my fingers here. Is that how tall they are? That is so silly. Nope. Are they 2 millimeters? Nope. Or are they 2 meters, which is about the height of a door? I think mom and dad would probably be closer to 2 meters than they would to these. It doesn't have to be exact, but what is it closest to? Then the length of an eyelash. You might have to go look at your eyelashes in the mirror. 9 centimeters. Is your eyelash this long? Is your eyelash 9 millimeters, which is just shorter than a centimeter? Or is it 9 meters, which is many heights of a door? You're going to do those 2 on your own. And then if you flip, we're going to actually measure these. Remember, you need to line up 0 with the line here, not the end of your ruler, but 0. And if you have the paper one, it's close. The end is close, but it's still not. Oh, we got to use centimeters right here. Line it up with that first mark there. Okay. You're going to measure how long is it. And because we're using centimeters, because it says to the nearest centimeter, we are going to label it. Here's the line to label it. We're going to put the number there that you measured, and then we're going to label it centimeters, please. Don't forget to label it centimeters. And then again, you're choosing the best estimate, the height of a 3rd grader. So how tall are you? Are you 120 of these centimeters? Are you 120 millimeters? So this is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. Are you this tall? Oh my goodness, such short little 3rd graders. Or 120 meters. So that is many, many door lengths. Okay, the length of a race and the length of a sneaker. We're going to do those on your own. The next thing we're going to do, this is an if you are able to do it kind of a game. because I know that not everyone has a printer at home and not everyone has a mom or a dad or a brother or a sister or a tutor or a nanny or someone who can help. But in your packet here, they have a game, and it looks like this. It's got a worm on it, and it has meters and centimeters on it. And I didn't print off all the cards, but I will put these on my website, so someone can print them off for you if you would like to play. And these are all of the game cards to go with this game. So you can find these on my website or in the email I sent out this morning. And it says, you will need one partner, and I'll show you how you can play by yourself, but it would be better with a partner, and a set of 10 colored markers or cubes. So here are my cubes to play. Oh, it says 10 colored markers for each player. So you probably want to pick like, I'll be green and you be yellow kind of a thing, so that you don't get them confused. So I need to get more for me and more for my partner. And then how do we play? We take these, you're gonna cut all the cards out. Okay, so I started cutting some of them out. You're gonna cut them out and you're gonna put them in a pile. You're gonna put them face down, like that. And your partner will choose a card to read to you. So if it is your turn, somebody else reads it to you. Because let me show you this. So each of these cards says, would you measure this object in centimeters or meters? Every card says that, and it has something that you are gonna think about what you would measure with. The thing is though, guys, is it underlines the answer. So it's helpful to play because it already gives you the answer. But if you're playing by yourself, you can't, it's hard to play by yourself because it already gives you the answer. You're not able to think. But if someone reads this to you, then you can't actually see what the answer is, but you can think about it. Does a candy bar get measured in centimeters or meters? And if you get it right, if the person reading it to you says, yep, you got it, then you get to put a cube on the correct answer. Now, if you are playing by yourself, okay, so you can use whatever color you want because you're the only one marking the game board. You've cut out all your cards. What you're gonna do is you're gonna fold them like this. So all you can see is what you are measuring. Now remember I said every card says, would you measure it in centimeters or meters? So you're going to look at just this part, a candy bar, centimeters or meters. I would probably use centimeters, and then you're gonna flip it up and see if you are correct. Okay, and then let's see this next one. I didn't look at the answer. This says toothbrush. Would I use toothbrush for centimeters or meters? Probably centimeters. Flip it up. I was correct. So that is something that you can do by yourself or with a partner. Then I will also put a game on my website. Let me share my screen with you. You can, so this is Shepard Software. This is one of my favorite websites. Sometimes it doesn't always work on iPads because it doesn't allow pop-ups, and it is an older website, but this is one of my favorite games because it's all of these really cool games in different categories. So money if you want to practice, time if you want to practice, place value if you want to practice. There are things that we haven't learned yet. And then basic operations. So here's your addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. But all up here at the top are the different categories. We're going to click measuring. And you can practice inches to feet or feet to yards. Those are conversions. You can do cups to quarts because we did that earlier. Metric volume, we also did that earlier last week. You can play a ruler game for the metric. So I would suggest playing this game or the metric length. So if you click metric length, and you allow it to play. You click start, it has conversions. So you could pull out that conversion chart in your packet. Let me just pull it up here. You're gonna use, this one would be helpful. And you click start. And then you're matching correct conversions. So 1 centimeter, is it equal to 10 millimeters, 1,000 meters, 100 centimeters, 1 kilometer, or 1 meter? I think 1 centimeter, 10 millimeters match. And I'm correct. And there's a couple rounds of that. So that is something that you can play. Have fun. Okay, boys and girls, welcome back to writing. You're going to need your narrative packet. It might be in your green folder from last week, or you may have put it in your red folder. Please find this, and you're going to need pencils. I'm going to show you with pens today, so I can use some different colors, but you definitely need a pencil, please. So, as I promised, we're going to take this brainstorming paper and we're going to turn it into our rough draft. So you do need to at least get started on this before you have your one-on-one meeting with me this week, but it doesn't have to be finished, because I know sometimes it can be a little tricky to do all of this writing and come up with all the details, but I am here to help you via Zoom sometime this week. So your mom and dad have probably signed you up for a meeting on Wednesday or Thursday, and that's to talk about this and make sure we're on track and I can actually help you write it out. So don't worry about being finished when you meet with me. Okay, so in order to turn this into a rough draft, we are going to need the transition words on the back. So go ahead and just tear those apart. That's totally fine, because what we're going to do is we're going to be flipping back and forth here. Okay, so I created this rough draft paper for you to help you out a little bit to figure out what goes in each paragraph. And I even did the indent. Remember, we do 2 finger space at the beginning of each paragraph. I already did that for you. So when you write your your final draft, it tells you when you should be indenting. So, of course, we're going to start with our name. And your brainstorming is done, but I usually don't show you the entire product. I just show you how to get started. So that is why mine is not done. So at the beginning of each paragraph, I told you what should be in that paragraph from your brainstorming page. So this is the hook, or the main idea or topic, sentence, plus we introduce characters and setting. This, when we did our personal narrative, was like, my alarm clock rang and I burst out of bed and I couldn't wait to get started. We don't have to think about really catchy hooks right now, because I have a feeling we're going to be sitting here for a long time trying to come up with something that's really creative, and then we're not going to spend the time we need to actually writing the paper. So it doesn't have to be that creative. We're going to edit and revise next week. We just got to get the rough draft down. It's called a rough draft for a reason. It's supposed to be rough. It's not supposed to be perfect. It's supposed to have some kinks in it that we'll need to work out later. Okay, so just to remind you, I'm on a desert island. There's a pleasant judge and the dog Skippy. I'm actually going to be the pleasant judge, and I'm going to make this a personal narrative. So it's about me on a desert island, but you could be writing about somebody else. You can choose to put yourself in the story or not. Up to you. So my hook is going to be, welcome to Cafe Island. The island, the desert island, that grows coffee beans. Now, I know that some of you who are great spellers and are really great about doing capitals and periods have noticed that I have missed a few things in my writing, and I did that on purpose because I want to be able to show you next week how we're going to edit and revise. So you are going to try to do your best with capitals and periods, but know that sometimes when we are working and we have really good ideas, we just keep writing and writing, and sometimes those details about capitals and periods go right out of our brain because we're focused on something else. So that is something that we will fix next week. So welcome to Cafe Island, the desert island that grows coffee beans. So that was my hook, my topic sentence. Now I need to introduce the characters and settings. So I did talk about Cafe Island already, but I do need to introduce Pleasant Judge, Dog Skippy, and my mansion. I'm gonna say, my name is Jeannie, the Pleasant Judge, and I live here in my mansion. I'm gonna run out of room, but that's okay. Gonna make it work with my dog Skippy. Okay, so I have a hook. Welcome to Cafe Island, the desert island that grows coffee beans. And then I introduced my characters. I'm Jeannie the Pleasant Judge, and I introduced Skippy, and then the setting is the desert island and my mansion. So I can check that off. I have already done small moment, who was there, and where were you? Okay. The when did it happen, if you can include that in this first paragraph, that is fine. Or you can just talk about it in your paper, and I will show you how we can do that. The next one says event sentence plus 1 or 2 detailed describing sentences. So this what happened, these are your events. And you have 5 events, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4 event spaces. So if you want to combine 2, that is okay. Or you can write it a 5th paragraph. That's totally fine. So let me show you how we're going to do this. To do your first event, event sentence, here's number 1. I need to, here's my beginning. I'm going to start out my paragraph, start out my paper. I need to choose one of these beginning transition words. So I think I'm going to choose one day. One day. I'm going to show it in a different color. One day I was sitting on my porch watching the rainstorm when a bottle washed up on shore. Okay, so I actually did 2 events in one. And then I'll do these 3 for my next 3 paragraphs. But you can just do just the one. So one day I was sitting on my porch watching the rainstorm when a bottle washed up on shore. That would be my event right there. So that's my event. But it also says 1 to 2 detail or describing sentences. So that is not these sentences, okay? A detailed describing sentence is an additional sentence describing about this event, okay? So one day I was sitting on my porch watching the rainstorm when a bottle washed up on shore. I was very curious what was inside. I was worried someone might be in trouble. Okay, now it says event sentence. This is your second event. So I'm going to go over here. And actually, I talked about the bottle, but I didn't talk about the treasure map. So this is still going to be my second event. Now remember, we're going to flip the page over. And you can choose one of these middle ones. Let's see. Next, then, after that, afterwards, following just then. Ooh, I like just then. Just then. Actually, I think I'm going to use suddenly, so I'm going to cross this out and write suddenly. Suddenly, I found myself running toward the bottle. Now I need 1 or 2 describing sentences. Skippy ran after me. We opened the bottle and found a treasure map. I wonder where it leads to. Okay, that's event number 2. Check. So then event number 3, you're gonna take your narrative writing. You're gonna do 2 more event sentences. So event 3 plus extra sentences, event 4 plus extra sentences, and then your conclusion sentence. That's just kind of your wrapping it up. So it was a great day after all, or I couldn't believe what I found. I'm so glad they were with me. Some sort of a sentence that kind of wraps it up saying, how was your experience? Did you enjoy your experience? But remember, for this event right here, I would use a middle transition, and the closing, this is your last event one, I would probably use an end transition. Okay, so all you are doing today is you are writing a rough draft, which means it's not supposed to be perfect. Notice I know I forgot a lot of capitals. My spelling is not perfect. It's just best guess spelling. Get it on the paper, and next week we are going to we're going to go through some checklists here, so a revision checklist, and we're also going to go through an editing checklist to make sure that our writing is perfect to go to do a final draft. Okay, so just a rough draft. You and I will discuss it when we have our meeting. Let me know if you have any questions.